These are some of the things that I wish I knew when I was 18. Let's start with something simple. Nutrition over calories. When I was younger, I used to kind of just focus on eating a certain amount of calories, when it's cutting or bulking, whatever. And I used to just eat whatever I want. If I had to eat like 1 5 calories a day, I'll eat 500 calories worth of chocolate. I'll eat a McDonald's burger or whatever. And even though it works in terms of losing weight, it's not healthy. So I really started, as of this year, I've started prioritizing my nutrition as well. Trying to get all of my nutrients in, trying to get all my vitamins in. Just to overall be healthy. You know, not just to be big or whatever, just so I can be healthy, minimize diseases, minimize any conditions, try to prevent any hereditary conditions for as long as I can. And another thing that I wish I knew, which I also realized a little bit later, my whole aim of the gym was trying to get as big as I possibly can. I mean, yeah, that can be a goal for someone, but I also think that like a really good goal is just to have a good athletic body, a good functional body, not just weight training. You want to do like all these movements that help loosen up your joints, help you make you more flexible, more mobile. Also training to increase your endurance, to become faster, to have a better VO2 max, have a better resting heart rate. Yeah, so when it comes to the jump, these are like two things that I just like kind of made a mindset shift, like just the beginning of this year, where I realized like actually what I want versus what I used to want. Yeah. Another thing. That's point number two. Sometimes people think that finding a good job is the be all end all of success. Being successful is having this going to college, university, getting this decent paying job. Well, in some cases, it might be someone's goal, might be. Maybe someone does want to work in that field, find a good job. Maybe their success is measured by, status or whatever. But I don't want you to fall into the trap thinking that's the only way. You can always start your own business. You can always start a family. That's also something successful, starting a family. Being a good mentor to people. There's so many measures of success, and well, having good financial success is something that like I'm working towards, but it's not always the be all end all of everything. You can still have success in so many other ways, in just being the person you are, having an impact on people around you. But I think that's like one of the highest forms of success. When you die, people are not going to be like, oh, he had so much money, whatever. They're going to obviously talk about your character, and you always want to leave a legacy behind. Like they say in One Piece, when does a man die? Is it when he ceases to exist, or when he's forgotten? So take that, think about it, and maybe reevaluate your definition of success in some sort. Another thing that I wish I knew is that nobody is coming to save you. Yeah, for the most part, everything is your own battle. Everything you have to face it on your own. I mean, yeah, you can have help, but the only way that you grow as a person is by facing these things alone. Sometimes you do need, yeah, it's fine to help, get help, whatever, but it's good to actually sit and think about, whatever situation you're facing, finding ways to deal with it on your own. It just helps you to grow, helps you to be better. You always grow in pain. You always become better when you become a better person. At the end of it, everything. That's why, like, yeah, it's fine. You have people that you can rely on, but you shouldn't always rely on them. You shouldn't always think, oh no, if I'm in this situation, I know this person's gonna get me out of it. No, you have to love in a way where you, if you try not to be in those kind of situations where you need help, you need to try to find a way to get you out of that situation so that you don't need to depend on anyone. So I'm just waiting for the ambulance to. Yeah, so like I said, you don't need to rely on anyone. You just need to focus on yourself, be the person that others can depend on. You know, if you don't, I like, I want to be the person that other people can, if they're in a situation, they can be like, oh no, I can always ask him for help, obviously not take advantage, but like helping someone. Another thing that I wish I knew, um, start learning skills early. It kind of ties in with the point I made about success. I guess you go to college, you learn a skill, whatever, but try to build skills on your own. Try to research what you find something that interests you. It could be making music, it could be what else, jumming, I guess, is a skill. Creating websites, whatever, something that eventually at some point you could be able to monetize, you could build a business around it. Otherwise, if you're unable to do it, maybe it's something that you enjoy doing, and then that's already a win in my books. Finding something that you actually enjoy, even though you aren't making money off it. I mean, money is not always everything, I guess. uh, this is point number 5 6. Rejection is totally normal. Rejection is part of life. Rejection is just another way, another stepping stone for you to grow. There's this book by Ryan Holiday. I haven't read it yet, but it's called "The Obstacle Is the Way." I guess from the title you can kind of get the gist of what he's trying to say is anything that stops you in your path, anything that is like a hindrance to you, it just means that you are going the right way. You may be facing rejection, when it comes to getting a job. You keep facing rejection, rejection, rejection. Maybe those rejections are there to, firstly, maybe make you better at getting interviews. Maybe that rejection is going to lead up to finding a job that's so much better. Maybe getting rejected by girls constantly, maybe it's just teaching you how to speak better, to be a better speaker to girls, teaching you what not to do and what to do. Or maybe it's just that these girls are not meant for you. You going to find someone who is going to be the love of your life. Rejection is completely normal. So every time I faced rejection, I always thought of it, oh no, it's over. I can't do this anymore. It's useless. What's the point of trying? No, rejection is the way forward. It's Rejection teaches you that you can keep going, just to keep going. Think of it like in a video game. Okay, so I'm gonna use this analogy, right? I heard it in a YouTube video. I can't remember which video it was. I don't know if it was Dr. K, maybe not. But so think of it like in a video game when you walking down, exploring, and then you see enemies. Usually, the path where there's enemies is you're going the right way. So yeah, that's what I mean in terms of the obstacle is the way. It's the right. You are going in the right path. I guess in a way, sense of like saying being comfortable is not going to allow you to grow. That's why you need to constantly be facing this rejection all the time. Not all the time, but like learning how to face it, deal with it, accept it, and move on. That's gonna make you a better person. Mental health is probably one of the most important things you can do. Um, one of your most important assets, rather. Mental health is. Did I press record you? Yeah, sorry. So mental health is like just one of your most important assets. Um, Mental health controls your life. How you feeling in here determines the actions that you take. If you're going to be feeling like just down the whole time, you're gonna just want to lay on your bed the whole day. You're not gonna want to do anything productive. If you having a hard time at work and you're just constantly thinking, oh no, I hate my job, you're gonna wake up every morning hating going into work. You're gonna resent your coworkers, you're going to resent your boss, you're gonna resent everyone, and all that resentment's gonna just like keep on building up, and it's gonna affect you outside of work as well. You're gonna start like lashing out. You know, like I said, I spoke about shadow work. Writing all those down, realizing all those things helps you to, not keep it, suppress it, but like to bring it out and make it something useful. So go watch my video on shadow work. That's important. That can be your first step into getting better mental health. Shadow work is really important, and then also pairing shadow work with some reading. Something philosophical. That is really helpful. Um, so yeah, mental health is so important, and I hate that it took me so long to realize that. I genuinely wish I knew that early on. I would have been in a much better position now, but like you can't really look back and then regret whatever. Like Marcus Aurelius says, the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, only the present exists. So whatever you do now, GG's. Another thing I wish I knew at 18 was it's okay to be disliked. It's okay to not have everyone think you're the best person. It's okay to, not be. Okay, you need to be respected, but like, it's okay to not please everyone. That's what I'm trying to say. For the longest time, I have been a people pleaser. And it's only, like I said, it's only now when I'm doing all this mental work, all this shadow work, all this reading is when I'm starting to realize all these things these bad things that I wish I knew earlier. So, like I said, it's okay for you to be disliked. You know, it's okay to not please everyone. What really matters, what's most important, is that you are staying true to yourself. You are staying true to your goals, your path, your values, your morals, your philosophy, whatever. It's important that you just stay true to yourself. It's important that not everyone's going to understand, the path that you're going down. A lot of people in today's society are all have this one way of thinking, like I've mentioned earlier. Success is finding a good job. So when you break out of that stereotype or that conformity, people start like, oh no, what the hell is this guy doing? People start like not liking you. People start hating on you actually, and it's best to not think about it, because you don't need any external validation. You only need your internal validation, which is validation from yourself. Because once you start getting those voices in your head of all these people telling you, no, this is not the right path, or you suck at this, when something goes wrong, you are going to always think back to those voices like, oh no, I should have listened to them, I should have done this instead. No, what you're doing is completely fine as long as you aren't hurting anyone. Do not listen to anyone else when it comes to your life. You are in control. You only need your own validation. What else do I have to say? What else did I wish I knew at 18? I guess that's it. Obviously, I'm still learning, and like I realize a lot. Like I have realized a lot, and I'm kind of happy with the person that I've been growing. Like I've been growing, and the person I'm becoming. And like I hope you can do this too. I hope you find some value in this video, especially if you're young. You 18 to 24, whatever. Even if you're older, it's never too late to make any changes in life. You can always start. You can always start over. It's never the end of the world. And yeah, she's just like me. I'm basically starting over with starting this YouTube channel at my big age of 25. And yeah, that's it. It's been Zen. I'll see you again, and I'll see you in the next video.